Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, Basswood Carving. Today I thought I'd go over a little bit about some of the mounts I'm creating for my carvings, and maybe I'll show you how we do one real quick. But mostly, when these carvings come as rough outs, they normally come on a little block about like that. And what we do is we carve off the bottom, or take our bandsaw and cut some of that on and leave a little bit so we can get a little more definition on the bottom of the boots. And it just makes it a little easier to carve all the way around. So this was my first cowboy that I did when I first started carving, and I mean, I see things now that I could have done better, but you know, hey, it was my first one, so, and my actual first painting of one, so you know, I didn't think it turned out too bad. I mean, I like to get a little better with my painting, but you know, I think it looks okay. But anyway, getting back to the bases, a lot of times, you know, like I said, these come as rough outs, or maybe you're just carving it out of a square block, you know, and you have a mount already. But like I said, we cut them off so we can do a little better on the boots and the bottoms, and then also we can get a little bigger base. So this is a base I did that was taught to me by my instructor Bob, and you know, this basically just some V cuts and stop cuts and a block. And what it also does is gives me a little more of a mounting base. So once I mount that on there, and then I'm going to run a couple little small drywall screws up through the bottom of the boot, and mount that dude on there. So it gives me a little better base, and it looks like kind of more like a slate rock. So I thought we'd maybe go over a couple different ones that I'm working on, because I have this guy that's about ready to go. He just needs a few more touch-ups and some paint. I got this guy here. He's about ready to go. We have a few more things just to finish up and paint. I got two more that I'm working on over here. And this guy and this guy. So I need some bases for them. So you can see right here I'm working on the bottom of the boots still on these two, but I'm going to need some bases for them. So I was playing around with different ideas for the base, and you know, I thought, you know, I'd come on and just share with you a few little bases that I'm working on for my carving. So I got this little hillbilly here that I'm working on. He's going to need a base, and you know, if you want to just put him on a base, you know, you can use a small block, but if you want to put him on a bigger base, you know, you can do something like this or something like this. Okay. One of the other ideas I was playing around with was this one that I created. So let me get this out of the way. It's not totally done yet, but I'm working on kind of a saloon porch. And basically I just took some strips, built a little block, and then took the strips and carved out the deck. So I did kind of some roughing on those right there. And this was just coated with boiled linseed oil right now. But I would glue all these down and get them. I wanted to leave a little gap in between each one, so I kind of made them all fit. And I'll probably have them different little positions here, get it to look more or less like an old saloon deck. And then I thought maybe I could do both guys like this, like they're having a conversation on the deck of the saloon. So yeah, those are just some ideas I've been playing around with. And all these bases are basically going to be carved out of just a block. Okay, here's one I'm working on that's going to have a stone texture to it. Here's another one that's going to have a round stone texture, and this is going to be for an upcoming carving that I'm getting ready to do. And it's a round stone. But basically, we start off with these are just scrap pieces that I had off of end cuts. And the grain on these are all running up and down, so it makes it a little tough. But you can basically, work them out. These grains here are all going this way, crossed, long grain this way. So that's what you really kind of want to start with if you want to create a bigger base. But as most wood carvers know, we don't have any scrap. So every scrap is made into something. So this will be a base. And then I got another one over here that was a base. That can be a base. But these are just all end cuts off of a carving that I did. Now if I started with a full block, I could use something like this and whack it down to about 3/4 of an inch or an inch and split it in half. And then I could have a couple bases out of this. So basically that's what I started with on this piece right here. This little base for my first cowboy. Alright. So I'll go through a small one and show you how to do that, but we won't take a lot of time doing a whole one because these are really easy. Like I said, they're basically just V-cuts all the way around and get the shape that you want. And there you go. And I also thought that this guy being on here, let's turn him around. But he kind of looked a little empty, so I decided I would carve a little quick barrel, little whiskey barrel, and put that on there like so. So that's what probably this one's going to end up looking like when I get it all done. Still got a few little touch-up spots on here to do, but that's what this guy's going to finish looking like. And I think when you add something else onto it, it just kind of adds to the whole scenery a little bit. And then mounting them down like so makes him complete, I think, and makes it a little more better. And you could never do that if you just had a little block, little block down here on the bottom that it comes with. Okay, but we'll use this one. A lot of times we carve things and sometimes they don't stand up on their own, for one. So you can mount them to a mounting block, and you'll have I just think it looks a little better. I just think it makes it look more complete. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you've done some caricatures before or some figures, and let me know what you think about putting the mounts on them. Do you do mounts on them, or you rather not have a mount, or maybe you have a different idea that you do for yours. But let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll get started. And I'll do a quick little one for you to show you. Now on this one here, we're going to come in a little deeper still yet, just to make that look like a stack of stones or that side of a cliff. Okay, so this one's just a small one, but we'll just go ahead and use it so it's not a very long video of you sitting here watching me carve a flat piece of wood. But basically I take and start off and just put some little V cuts in here about where I'd want to separate my rocks, alright, or where I just want to separate my slates. So you use your V tool to mark all your little facets if you want. And basically you're just going to take your knife and start off at the top and just take all those hard edges off. And you can dip them down in there like so and just kind of work, just make it look roughened up. Take all your corners off. that. Figure out what shape you want. Maybe you don't want it square. Maybe you just want something that's just a little bit odd shaped. But go ahead and just take all your these edges off. Just do some little facets. And again, I'm working with an end grain here. If I wanted to, I could take this big block right here and I could cut off, cut this in half maybe, or I could use a big one if I wanted a big mount for a couple objects to be on there. But basically, the best way is to have the grain going long ways, like so. That way, it's just easier to cut out, and you have a smaller area and grain to deal with, and you're going to get a nice, flat, smooth surface at the top to mount your carving on. Okay. But basically, once you get your shape that you want on the outside, just take and start cutting deep V cuts. Just work your way around the whole block. Now you could do the back if you want. If you're going to mount these on a shelf where you're probably not going to see the back, if you don't want to do the back, you don't have to do the back. But basically, I do mine all the way around. That way it gives me the option of turning it to a certain way that I want. And again, I'm using end cut, so these are going to be a little rough looking. And you can always go back and clean them up, with the Dremel or with some sandpaper and get them out. I'm going to use a little more of a straighter edge knife so I can get back in there deep. But basically, I'm just going to keep cutting little facets all the way around this whole block. So I'll probably speed this up so we don't have a real long video of just cutting out a rock. Just make sure that no edges are hard edges. Give yourself nice rounded deep edges so everything looks good. And make them unique. When you start out, it kind of always, as with any carving, it always looks rough. But once you get your general idea of what you're wanting to do, you can always go back and clean everything up. Just go ahead and take out some spots. You can make this go all the way around. Just follow it all the way around. I like to put a V cut in with the V tool because that helps me, kind of gives me a guideline to go by. Lets me know which, and I can curve it. I can make it look straight. Where I want it to look straight. But first and foremost is go around and take all your hard edges off. And just start giving it some shape. Out here where I live in Ohio, on the side of the road, we have a lot of slate limestone on the sides of the hills. So that's kind of what the look that I want to go after is, just that slate rock look. And again, this is a hard edge, so hard end cut. Go ahead and go around it. Get what you like. If you want to have one layer, 2 layers. And then you can have them basically. If you see this one, it looks like some stacked rock. And just keep cutting deep V cuts in. Really simple little project that you can whip it up, and I just think it adds so much more realism to your carving, as opposed to maybe mounting it on a round plaque looking mount. And even if it chips off a little bit, no big deal. That just kind of adds to the character of it. Just take that chip and make something out of it. But just keep running your knife in. And just keep cutting it deep as you want. Let's take a little bit of these corners off some more, just so it's not so square. And we'll make that top one a little smaller than the one underneath. And really, it's kind of fun because you're not really have a plan. You're just going at it. And then when you get done, it's like, wow, I like that, or I don't like that. I need to cut it a little deeper, or make this rock a little smaller, or something like that. But once you have that picture in your mind, and things start coming together, you'll like it more and more. And the way I'll mount these, if I can't remember if I said or not, but I will drill little holes, pre-drill some little holes, and don't use very big screws. Use glue, but if you want it to really be on there, put you a couple little drywall screws but depending on how big your carving is, be careful. Use thin screws. Really, the screws just hold it down while you're gluing it. Once the glue sets, I think if you're using tight bond, I've glued on paint before, and it still bonds pretty good on the paint. So the screws just kind of hold it in place, because it's kind of hard to clamp it when you have an odd shape like a cowboy or something. You might be able to clamp it down with a squeeze clamp or something, but really, if you're going to carry it to a carving show or take it to a carving club or something, you don't want that dude to fall off and hit the concrete or break after you've had a lot of hard work and time into it. But that's all we're doing here. Just cutting little V cuts. Different sizes. Different shapes. See how we're starting to come together. Now on the end, front side, through the bottom a little bit. Just enough to take off those hard edges and give it a little facet. You can see that one's just chipping away because it's the end grain. That's okay. We can clean that up and work it right in and make it look like it's supposed to be there. You just don't run any really hard, sharp edges. Just keep cutting down in there. Taking slivers out. Okay, you can also take your V tool and get down in there after you get it going. Widen them out a little bit. Don't forget this little trick. If you got a hard piece, squirt it down with some alcohol and water. And it'll really help you get some good cuts on those rough end grain edges. And the further I go back in, the thinner I get out here. Okay, see how we're getting it? Thought I got myself there for a minute. Okay, let's work on this side a little bit. Okay. What's cool about these is you really don't even have to have a plan. You can just keep cutting away at it. Before you know it, you'll like what it looks like. And just pick the side you like the best and make that your front. Okay. Let's get this back a little bit more. Mostly all V cuts, that's all we're doing here. Fasten right there. Now if you want, you can work on that top and kind of just shave it off just to get that rough spot off. Or you could take a little sandpaper. Or you can just keep doing little divots. But like I said, try not, wherever you're going to mount your carving, try to keep that still flat. Just makes your mount a little better. Okay? So I think that's where we're going to stop with this one. Just basically wanted to give you guys the idea. You know, you should be able to do something really cool. And hey, if you do create one that's really cool, send me a pic of your carving base or your carving on the base. People's been sending me some of their carvings that they've done. Send them to my email, please. It's Carverguy at basswoodcarving.com. Carverguy at basswoodcarving.com. I've got some pictures from people that did the Santa ornaments and the things that we did over the Christmas holiday. So that was really cool. Some of you did a better job than I did, I think, but you know, it was really cool. I won't share your pictures. I just keep them for my personal enjoyment, but unless you say I can share them. But yeah, it was pretty cool seeing some of the things you guys did, and with the Christmas ornament things, some of you did right on. Almost looked exactly like mine, and some of them were even a little better. Looks like you spent some good time on them. So that was really cool seeing my projects that I put up and other people carving them, because that was really cool. So anyway, I think we're gonna stop right there with that one. Kind of show you guys around. Let me get my brush and brush it out real quick. And like I said, you can spend time. Just keep, carving away at it. Getting all the little rough edges cleaned up. There's one right there that I'm gonna need a little bit of work. But I think you get the idea of what you can do. And like I said, pick the best side. If one side looks a little rough, pick the best side. That's a little rough there. I'll work on that before I actually mount it on something. Right here, these are a little rough looking. Just take a little chip out of it, round it off. there's your little rock. I think my little hillbilly, when I get him all done, excuse me, when I get him all done, he'll look just fine on there. Still got to put his eyes and stuff on, but oh, see what I mean? Now I got something to mount him on, and he won't break if he falls over. All right. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you create. Remember, you can create all different kinds of bases: stone, slate, wood, porch look, all kinds of different things just to add to your carving. And this one was painted with the gray, kind of a wash. I wish I would have used a little lighter gray, but hey, it don't matter. It still looks good. And I can put my cowboy on there and the whiskey barrel like so. Show you all the different views. Alright, thanks guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed. It's definitely been fun, and I hope everybody's enjoying the videos. And I got a few more projects coming up for you. But I just wanted to whip that one out so you had a little idea of something that you can do with your carvings once you're all done. So, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.